Hey, English one. So here is your second assignment for this week, this rhetorical devices and appeals chart. We are working towards rhetorical analysis and writing an actual formal rhetorical analysis. So we want to focus on two things this week. One, soapstone, right? Soapstone is going to provide us with all the necessary information to provide the context in our rhetorical analysis. And that information will be especially important in your introductory and conclusion paragraphs. The body of this essay, if you will come in finding specific evidence, identifying the appeal, and explaining the appeal via that strategy or device. So I've got a model here to explain to you what you're doing here. There are 10 columns here, but you're only required to fill out 5. You may not use mine. If you use mine, that's 2 out of the 5. That's 40% already gone, right? So don't use mine. In this first column, you want to put the page number. I just use the page number of the PDF. You'll see here it says 4 of 6, and that's totally appropriate. You could do that. Passage from text, I copied and pasted the important passage, but then you'll see that I bolded the part that I was specifically referencing. I think some passages will require more context than others. Like this first example, you'll see in a minute when I explain it, that it required a little bit more context, especially considering the device. And then this third one is the device or the appeal. And in mine, I did more than just identify, but it kind of explained or begin to explain the significance of that appeal. And that will be helpful going forward. So it might not be a bad idea for you to do that too. So this first one I found on page 2 of the PDF. Come on, scroll please. Okay, it's struggling to scroll, but it said, this wait has almost always meant never. It has been a tranquilizing thalidomide, relieving the emotional stress for a moment, only to give birth to an ill-formed infant of frustration. All right, so based on context, you could probably identify what a thalidomide is, right? It's definitely it's definitely medical jargon. It's a technical term, but we've got tranquilizing here that's modifying it. We've got relieving stress for a moment, only to give birth to an ill-formed infant of frustration. So based on context, I think we can identify that this word is a sedative, right? It tranquilizes, so it's a sedative. So I put for my device or my appeal that it's a metaphor, right? And I've identified that metaphor there by bolding it as been a tranquilizing thalidomide. What is it that's being compared? It, we'll identify that in a second, to the sedative. What is it? It's the weight. Okay, so we've got the comparison of a weight to a sedative. So every time that this idea about civil rights has been pushed, it's always been wait, 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 and that's been the sedative itself. Wait, as in like, let's not move now, everything will eventually work itself out, but MLK is saying, oh, that's just not been the case. Page 4, I found this one. Maybe I was too optimistic, maybe I expected too much. And I wanted to focus on the multiple short sentences, and there's really 2 devices here, but I went with syntax because that's one that I remember specifically talking with you about in Romeo and Juliet. Parallelism is another one. We've got the same grammatical structure in the 2 of them, so that would have worked as well. No, you may not use parallelism as your example with this specific piece of textual evidence, but it is short sentences, and I reminded myself that that technical term is syntax, and I said that they carry great meaning. Typically, when an author chooses to use small sentences, they either include the large idea of the text or the paragraph or a certain length of the essay, or they carry significant meaning, like they are very important to tone and all those soapstone elements. All right, so these are 2 examples. You only need 5, even though there are 10 rows here. You're welcome to include more. That will only help you, not hurt you. And no, you may not use mine. Okay, have a good rest of your week.